Nothing spells fashion disaster like cosmetics gone awry, and even the royals have been known to suffer the odd makeup slip-up. By 2023, Princess Catherine had been an official member of the royal family for over a decade, meaning she was pretty well versed in the do's and don'ts of public life. Even pros can take a wrong turn every now and then, however, no matter how hard they may try. And when Catherine visited the Bisham Abbey National Sports Centre in October of that year, it's fair to say she looked a little less vibrant than usual. Despite wearing a bold blue outfit that worked nicely with her lighter tresses, Catherine seemed to have skipped something important: a complimentary lipstick. Her foundation base was flawless and her contour was just right, but the overall look was let down by a dull lippy that sucked the life out of Kate's features. A few shades darker, and this could have been a totally different story. So let this be a lesson to you: color matching is important, kids. King Charles's coronation ceremony in 2023 was kind of a big deal for the royals. The last time Britain had held a coronation was when Queen Elizabeth II inherited the throne 70 years earlier, and so the entire House of Windsor was very much in the spotlight.
God save the king!
God save the king!
Princess Catherine attended the event with her husband, Prince William, and their 3 children. Obviously, an occasion such as this called for ceremonial robes, and so Kate Middleton also wore a great deal more makeup than she usually might at a less formal royal event. Kate's brows on Coronation Day were heavily shaped, and she wore a thick layer of foundation along with a dark brown smoky eye and rose-toned lipstick. While this didn't necessarily look bad per se, the heavy makeup seemed to age Catherine rather than highlight her facial features. She also fell victim to harsh contouring, with certain angles showing a thick line of bronzer across her cheek. In contrast to that elegant and regal headpiece, this makeup made Catherine's resting expression look harder than it ought to. During her 70 years on the throne, Queen Elizabeth II rode trends, made fashion choices that few royals would make, and never once apologized for it. But that doesn't mean she never made a faux pas or two. For example, the late Queen fell into a very common trap throughout the 1980s and 1990s. Her excessive powder may have looked fine at the dressing table in Buckingham Palace, but once she was actually photographed, Elizabeth ended up glowing white. A photograph of Elizabeth taken at a state banquet in Germany back in 1992 is just one of many instances in which the Queen came off a little too pale. Elizabeth was never one for dramatic eye makeup or a red lip either, often preferring subtle pink shades instead. And while that usually worked out well for her, it made the powder problem all the worse, giving her a drawn, ghostly appearance rather than a dewy, youthful glow. Queen Camilla's romance with then Prince Charles saw her become one of the most hated public figures in Britain in the 1990s. Camilla eventually found her footing, however, marrying Charles in 2005 and finally becoming Queen Consort in 2023. But she still comes under scrutiny every now and then. In 2018, Camilla embarked on a 3-day tour of Cornwall with her husband, and there was something a little unusual about her pallor. The Queen Consort's typically light complexion was a darker shade than usual, giving her an unflattering orange glow, perhaps due to a liberal application of ill-matched foundation and heavy bronzer. Honestly, doesn't this kind of remind you of someone?
I'm a very stable genius.
The striking color of her skin only seemed starker against her blue and white floral dress, pearl necklace, and shimmery pink lipstick. And while her eye makeup was subtle and refined, it was overpowered by a thick layer of warm-toned products, which also settled into the creases on her face, making them all the more prominent. Back in 2011, the future Princess of Wales had just tied the knot with the world's most eligible bachelor. Catherine had been in the public eye for a good few years by this point, as she and William had first started dating at university. Yet Princess Kate made a few fashion errors as she tried to find her footing in the royal clique. At the time, Kate was a big fan of black eyeliner on both her top and bottom lashes. Though it was a fairly common trend at the time, it didn't do anything for her appearance, making her eyes appear a little, well, small. This was such a talking point at the time, in fact, that none other than Vivienne Westwood told the Sunday Times, "I think she's got a problem with eye makeup. The sharp line around her eyes makes her look hard. Either she should be smudgy or wear none." Even as late as 2014, Princess Catherine was still holding onto her beloved black eyeliner. During a visit to the Northside Center for Child Development in Harlem, New York, Catherine looked strangely pale and gaunt. She wore a stunning black and white coat dress to the engagement, and her brunette tresses contained subtle highlights, but the dark colors of Kate's outfit only highlighted her pale complexion, which appeared to be caused by a severe lack of blusher. Paired with a lack of lipstick or bronzer, this no rouge situation did Catherine no favors, making her look one-dimensional and lifeless. Meanwhile, her heavy eye makeup only served to further highlight the lack of color in her cheeks. That said, Catherine's skin appears somewhat healthier in photos taken outside of the event. so maybe this is all just a testament to the importance of good lighting. Princess Diana wasn't just the people's princess, she was also a style icon and an important public figure at a time of great change in Britain.
Let us not wait to be asked, but let us act today.
And while the 90s saw Diana divorce then Prince Charles and strike out on her own, she still remained in high demand as a public figure. Looking back though, it's clear that Diana often wore styles that would now seem a little outdated. In 1997, for instance, she paired her cropped tresses with a pale blue skirt suit to open the Richard Attenborough Center for Disabilities and the Arts in Leicester. For this event, Diana opted to keep her eye makeup relatively subtle, so the opportunity was there to go for a slightly darker lip and balance the color palette. Instead, she went with a barely there shade of pink, which drained her features of color. Diana's foundation seemed one-dimensional and limp too. A good kick of blusher and bronzer would have rejuvenated her appearance and established a more playful, youthful tone, which might have easily turned this into a truly timeless look. Sarah Ferguson and the phrase one-dimensional rarely go hand in hand. The Duchess of York and ex-wife of disgraced royal Prince Andrew is a larger-than-life figure in every way, from her boundless energy to her no-holds-barred approach to the media.
I'm going to take 5 minutes.
I'm sorry?
No, nothing. I'm just going to take 5 minutes.
Sometimes, however, Sarah's makeup doesn't match her vibrant personality. Back in 2000, Sarah attended the launch of a fundraising initiative for the Motor Neuron Disease Association at the swanky Denby's Wine Estate in Surrey, England. While it's true that Sarah has never had the most polished sense of style, her makeup around this period was particularly underdone. Those with red hair are often pale in complexion, but this can be a major advantage and make for some striking looks when the right shades are used. Sadly, Sarah's team missed a trick with this one, as her drab makeup base lacked any other color for it to play off. Meghan Markle's best Invictus Games looks have given us a real insight into the Duchess of Sussex's taste over the years, and her outfits often hit just the right note for the events. Meghan carefully manages to elevate smart casual without going over the top, but in 2023, she had something of a makeup mishap. Her simple sleeveless shirt and denim ensemble, which she accessorized with dainty silver jewelry, was compromised by a heavy layering of bronzer. Worse still, the blotchy application created standout patches across her cheeks. Other aspects of Meghan's makeup worked well enough, from the dusty pink lipstick to the well-defined brows. Had the bronzer been applied with a lighter hand to create a subtle shading effect, this look could have been a surefire success for the Duchess. Unfortunately, some of Meghan Markle's worst makeup mistakes won't be so easy to scrub away. In 2018, Meghan was well on her way to what should have been a newlywed glow. On a visit to Wales with her then-fiancé, Meghan spent the day greeting well-wishers and talking to local children. She wore a plain black coat and scarf, but it's her makeup that stole the show, and not for the right reasons. Meghan's brows were largely sparse and underdone, which is unusual for the Duchess, who typically prefers structured and well-defined arches. While she had a solid base for her skin, Meghan had apparently stopped there. She paired an unremarkable shade of lipstick with smudged, poorly done eyeliner. What's more, her under-eye area was also badly creased. First impressions are everything, and although Meghan's radiant smile saved the day, this overall look could have been much more elegant. It's not just senior members of the royal family that have trouble in the makeup department. Sophie Winkleman, commonly referred to as Lady Frederick Windsor, is the wife of Lord Frederick Windsor, the son of Prince Michael of Kent, Queen Elizabeth II's cousin. Interestingly, she's also an actress who is perhaps most famous for appearing on the comedy sitcom Peep Show.
Almost champagne. I'll tell you what, I'll put it there, and if for any reason we don't get around to drinking it tonight, you can take it back with you.
In 2023, Sophie attended the Royal Ascot. Her gorgeous yellow dress was perfect for the event, as was her Jackie O-style hat. However, Sophie's makeup let her down by detracting from her impeccable style. Her poorly blended eyeshadow creased and smudged against her upper eyelid, making her face look messy and unkempt. There was also somewhat of a color clash, with her gray-mauve eyeshadow competing with the bold pink lip. All in all, it's safe to say that there were no winners here. Camilla Parker Bowles wore a pale pink embellished gown to the Princess Foundation Gala in 2000, yet the soft pastel ensemble did nothing to complement her makeup choices, and vice versa. Camilla's trademark blonde hair was brushed away from her face in the same style she'd rocked for years, but the translucent face powder and shimmery under-eye makeup worked against both the tone of the gown and her coloring, leaving her looking washed out and underdone. While there's something to be said for a glowing natural look, Camilla's lack of brow definition and underwhelming lipstick made it look like she'd just run out of the house in a hurry.